Okay, welcome back out to the garage. I've been out, spent a bit of time, I've tidied it up somewhat. Tidied that up, put away the stuff on the lathe. Got some water, I've got my Pepsi. And I just cleaned up the floor here. But what I want to do is I'm going to tip that, and I've cleaned the tray out. So if I just, let me put it there so you can see what the fuck I'm doing. And just see where that sits. Right about, I don't know, I reckon about there. I think if I, tray, even if I put something in and whale it, and I might be able to put a small dent in that, just to, a bit of slope. And I won't have to put a funnel under it, I'll just put that nipple there. And get that mesh out and just fold a little square thing to sit over the top. So so I don't have to overly complicate things. So that looks like that might work. Just give me a minute and I'll get something and I'll bring you right back. Okay, I just drilled a little hole there. You see that water's running down there. I just got a bit of round bar and give it a couple of belts with hammer. So it's working fine. Dripping on the floor. And I've got the sniffles. Don't worry about me if I sound like a snot monster because it's cool here today. After all the warm days we had a cool change overnight. And of course it's got the snot factory going. And there's the bit I've got to put in there. I might see if I can drill it big enough to force it in, and like to tap its own thread. I know it's doing the cheating. Oh, actually, I might have a tap big enough to do that. Just close enough, I'll do a metric tap and just jam it into it. Give me a minute and I'll sort this out. It's just a bit hard at the moment to put you in the stand because I'm all over the place, so stay tuned. Okay, I've drilled that out and I run a 15mm tap in it and I can just start that. That's perfect because what I'll do is I'll put that in from the bottom and force it, and it'll seal it and it'll drive it through. So it's gonna work good. So I won't have to do too much at all. I'll just screw that in the bottom and put a cover over it to stop the metal shavings getting down, and we'll be laughing. Righto, hang on a sec. Righto, I've got this cover made, stainless mesh, and all I've done is I did it in my folder up there and just tied it up with just a bit of copper wire. I couldn't use stainless wire because it's too, like when you tighten it, it's going to pull that mesh apart because it's only woven mesh, it's not welded. So that came up alright the second time around. It's still, the fold is a little bit how you're going because just the weave of the mesh, if it's not 100% straight, it won't fold properly. Like it's folded right in the middle, but you can see that it's still out. Just, it doesn't matter where it's going, you won't fucking see it. So I'm just going to put a hole in it. We'll just force a pop rivet through it, and I'm going to pop rivet or screw it to the lathe. This is what happens when you don't think about when you do things, alright? That's, I measured it, marked it out with the texture and cut it properly. That's when you try and do it by eye. See, I'll just count the fucking... Look, that is disgusting, seriously. I am genuinely ashamed of that effort. That's shit. But that's when you think I can do this shit just by eye. Well, you can't. So I'm going to go on now and get some pop rivets. Oh no, actually screws. I need to be able to take that bastard off. A couple of 1/8 screws and go and mark it. Righto, I've got it in. Oh, that's not draining too bad. And they've got the coolant in it. Hooked up here. Turn it on. There we go. There's that splashing all over me. So, the only thing I was worried about was it seemed to be taking a while to drain. But it does drain fine. That nipple is just a little bit proud of the top there, but I've cut 2 slots in it, and you can see where that water now, that water's running down that drain. So, there. It is one drip. I mean, I'm going to leave it. There's one screw. That one on the left there, when I was doing it up, for some reason, it decided I must have a little bit strong fisted and stripped it, and it's just dripping. Just very, very slightly. So I'm just going to let it dry out, and I'll seal it, put a bit of silicone on it, that'll stop it. So, yeah, I'll put more oil in there. I broke the rules a little bit, because the golden rule with coolant, as any machinist knows, you always add the oil to the water, not the water to the oil. Which I did in the bucket over there, but as you can see I spilt more of it than I fucking got in there. And then I put another 6 litres or so more in it to fill it up, and I put more coolant in there, more cutting oil, and then yeah, and then put more water in. So yeah, that's not draining overly quick, is it? It's building a puddle, which is not too bad, I suppose, as long as it drains, which it is. Yeah, that's draining pretty good. I mean, worst case scenario is, if need be, I'll take that out. I've still got the mesh there, and I'll just make a bigger drain. But that's draining down into there pretty good. As long as this tray empties out, which it was doing. I don't like to see water sitting in the tray, because the swarf goes rusty. No, that's draining. I don't know if you can see that. Let me zoom you up a little bit. It's draining. Now I might even put my sheet metalwork skills to the test and make a little tray that I'll cut a square out in there, sit the tray in, and have like a little sump with the mesh on top. You know, I might even do that later though. I want to get the other work done first. Yeah, that's draining. I want to get this now. I don't think I'm going to do any more today, because I've had a couple of meltdowns already today. It's the reason why I haven't recorded quite as much. But tomorrow I'll come out and get into that. There's no reason why I can't finish that tomorrow. Yeah, the only thing I've got to probably do is add another PowerPoint to that. Like, and it's not going to be hard to piggyback one up straight underneath it. It won't overload the circuit at all. I might put another one just straight underneath that, because I've got me, now that I've got me power feed that's got to go on it as well. I've got the lathe, the light, and now the coolant pump. So I need 4 outlets. So I can do that another time. I might do that on a weekend. My weekend's my electrical time, so yeah, that is draining. We're just taking its sweet time to do it. So, but I think I'm not going to put that panel back up in the middle. I'll leave it open, that way it's easy to get to the coolant tank. You can see that little top of the motor there. There's a little drip mark there. It's from that screw. So I think what I'm going to do is, that little sump idea is going to work better. I might even do that today. I'll use my folder. I might even fucking use that. Cut that up. Mark it out, cut it up, and install it today. That's what I'll do. So I'll take that nipple out of the bottom there, even though I've just spent, you know, time fucking around putting that in and then making that little mesh guard. That's doesn't matter. I'm retired, so, you know, doesn't mean squat. And I've got plenty of mesh there still. Yeah, fuck it, that's what I'll do. Stay tuned, I'll put this up on the bench and I'll start marking it out. Righto. Now I've just got to think, I might make it square. Doesn't need to be too big really. Maybe 75 by 75. What do you reckon? Do it 75 by 75, that should... Well, that's all more than enough. It's only really just a drain, isn't it? So I'll make it square, I'll make it 75 by 75. See this precision ruler? Look at that, the spatter on it. Precision ruler, that. Oh, look, now I'm bleeding. Use that for me square. And these bloody stickers are a friggin' pain in the ass. Let's do it this way. Do it the lazy way. No 75. I've ruined that texture. Let's get another one. That one's got a bit more of a point on it. $75. Alright. 75. Now how deep do we want it? As deep as that? I think that should be enough. What do you reckon? And what I might even do with this is I'll fold it. Well, I've got to seal it anyway, so I might weld it because it's thick enough. It's right on the limit of my bender too. Its limit is 1.2 is it maximum, and that's 1.2. So I'm doing this the wrong way, aren't I? Let me just do this. Sorry if I stick my ugly head in the way. I try to keep my head and my body out of the view as much as possible. I'm not a very pretty man, so the last thing you need to do is look at me. And yeah, I'm a little bit I'm sort of body conscious as well because, you know, as you're probably aware, I'm not exactly a small guy. Although I have lost weight. I've lost about 12-13 kilos so far, so I figured, you know, what's better, lose some weight or die from a heart attack. So I thought, lose some weight, it's better. And now we'll just come out this side. That's our tab. It's going to fit, bend over to sit on top to hold it. But, you know, I'm trying to, what I'm going to try and do with my videos is do a little bit more talking, I suppose. I used to hate talking to the camera. Now you can't shut me up. But I've got to try and learn, rather than just stand here and talk, it's boring, do something. Give people something to look at. You know, while I'm working and talking, if I can. I mean, if I'm machining, it's a bit hard because it's too noisy. So what I'll do is I'll drill a hole in the centre, take that nipple out of that thing there, and I'll put it in here and weld it. So that way it'll be flush, and I can actually, I could probably try and bend, like concave that a little bit so it does drain properly, so it doesn't actually sit and hold in here. So if I do that, just trying to work out the best way to bend it, because I had issues when I was bending these other things in it, is getting this top bit, like get this bent and then this bent, is getting it into the machine, which is the problem. Worst case scenario, so I might have to put it in the vise and just hammer these over. I'd rather do it in the bender, but hey, it is what it is, eh? You can only piss with the dick that you've got. So I'm going to make some noise now, so I'll turn you off for a minute, and as soon as I've cut this, I'll bring you straight back. Stay tuned. Right, I have to zoom you up a little bit because the door's open and it's a little bit bright. I've moved all this out of the road. Well, I moved it out of the road because I've used that and that to bend those other ones, but this one's perfect size for that. So let's see if I get this. Whoops, just a little too far. So it's just getting that one that's going to be the issue. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's only going to work. Oh, hang on. If I bend it out of the road as I go, that way I might be able to, once I bend this, let's see what happens anyway. A sheet metal worker I am not. Although I do find it fascinating, but I was never much of a sheet metal worker. Oh, you bastard. Come on, that's it. Go. No, you son of a bitch. I feel that I've done this all arse about. Anyway, let's soldier on. So the unfortunate part is now I can't, but what I'm thinking is I might cut these two off, because I don't really need, oh no, I should have them all the way around, shouldn't I really? Let's go down to the bench and I'll look, see what I can do with it down there. See, still a little bit, I don't know if you can see that, I haven't got the screen turned around. But that'll be fine. I can put that on the bench and just give that a tickle with the, or put it in the vise. And that'll squeeze up fine. Same with those. And I can just weld them. Right, let's go and do something. Now, just before I get this out of the road, can anybody see a problem here? Why did I cut it there? Why not move it into the corner? Hey? No brains, seriously. Get that over there out of the way. That's fine. That one's fine. Okay, they're fine. Now that'll weld up fine, it's not a problem. It's a slight, I don't like it. Yeah, that'll do. Now, people, how am I going to fold that? I don't want to have to weld an angle on there or anything. Folding it, I'm sure that it can be done, and I'm sure that if anybody that, you know, might even eventually watch this, that a sheet metal worker be able to tell me what I've done wrong. I mean, I could put it in there and then fold it like that. You know what? I'm going to weld it first. Let me weld this up and then we'll come back. Yeah, that'll work better. I'll weld it first. Stay tuned. Okay, I've welded that. What I did was I trimmed these edges a little bit, cleaned it up. But what I've done is I've put a score in that. So I should be able to stick that in there with something, I don't know, and and bend it over on that score. It's one of the things I suppose you learn watching other people that know what they're doing shit like this on YouTube, and they score it first. If they haven't got a way of bending it, they will score it first and then fold it out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but let's try. Oh, look at that. Hey? Look at that. I can finish the rest of that off by a hammer. And if I'm worried, I mean, there's still plenty of strength there. I can't bend that by hand, so I could always put a tack of weld under it, but I don't really need to. So you do learn things watching videos. That makes it a lot easier. Fuck. Because see, it's bending, and even though I've held it, it's bent it nearly all the way down. Oh, lovely. It's almost flat too. Holy shit. Flat. Flat. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. This one's just a touch higher, but I'm going to seal it. I think that'll do the job. It's going to have to, isn't it? Oh, that's better. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and have some lunch, put this camera on charge for a little while. Even before I go, I know I've got to weld that nipple in the bottom. I'll do that when I come back, and then I'll paint. I've even got some blue paint up there somewhere, so I'll paint it and then let it dry while I'm freaking around up there doing shit, like measuring it and cutting it out, and we'll be ready to party. So I'll do that, and I'll do the mesh. I'm not sure how I'm going to hold that mesh in or on there yet, but I'll work something out, eh? Be back soon. Alright, back from lunch. That's all done. I've got that welded in, and I've cut a bit of mesh. What I'm going to do is, when I cut the hole, put that in, I'm going to screw this in, or rivet it. One or the other. It's going to have sealant under it, and then I'm going to put screws in, put that over the top, and put 4 screws, one in each corner. That should be enough to hold it. So there we go. Alright, just let me do... I'm going to go and get that other thing off. I've got to dry this off properly, and then I'll paint it. Righto, there's that painted. Isn't that pretty? That I can cut. I might even cut it a little bit smaller, but what I'm doing... Let me walk up here. Oh shit, I've got fucking shaving in my shoe. Oh, sticking in my foot. I've cut that out, and I've drilled it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it from underneath and pop rivet it. So that'll work better. That won't give me a lip, otherwise if I put it on top there's going to be a little lip there for the water to get trapped behind. So I'm going to put it from underneath and pop rivet it. So I've just got to let it dry for a minute. I've just repainted it again. I'll go and get a file and just get those burrs out. I'll fit it with the flap disc, but I'll knock those burrs out. By then that thing should be dry enough I could put it up underneath and then just use you just use the drill bit and mark it. So I'll get 2 holes marked, get them drilled and riveted in, then I can just drill the rest in situ. So yeah, so we're making progress. I'm just going to take my shoe off now and get this friggin' burr out of my shoe. Sorry, what happened, I've got, it's not something when you wear shorts out here. I have got little covers that go on your legs to stop shit going down your shoes, but I keep forgetting to put the bastards on, so I'll bring you back in a minute. Stay tuned. Righto. There we are, riveted in. I've filled the rivets with silicone, and I've drilled 4 holes around the outside to screw the mesh down, and I'm going to put a bit of silicone on that as well. So we should be just about ready to go. I'll screw this mesh on and I'll bring you back. Alright, there we are, finished job. I couldn't video any of that because, well, there's nowhere to put the bloody camera for a start. It's in a shitty spot, so I think that'll work a lot better than the old one. Yeah. And that's a low spot there, so that'll drain really quick. I'm not going to run any fluid through it yet. I'm going to let that silicone cure first. So I've got silicone under those screws so they won't leak. All around the edge. I mean, there was a slight gap in the corners where that hole, I cut that hole maybe a little bigger than it needed to be, but that was fine because that made fitting it a whole lot easier. So I just filled it with silicone. That little tiny gap in the corners, so it's all good. So now I'll have far less trouble when I'm drilling or even machining some shit that gets really, really hot. So there we go, done. Finished. Piece of steel out of the bottom. You can see where the old one was. So yeah, and I trimmed cut the bottom of that hose. I had it too far in, and it was twisting the hose around, had a bit of a kink in it, so I cut that off. So it only just needs to run into there. So yeah, might even tomorrow. Well, actually, I'll wait until I finish this, and then I can use it then to drill holes and all sorts of wonderful things. So yeah, job done, and it's only, well, it's 1:45. Look. Oh no, she's got nothing to say for herself. I thought that, you know who woke up and you says, I don't have an answer for that. Stupid. Anyway, that's it for the day. I think I'll go and get this off the camera now and get it up, because there really is only one video for this. I don't need to do part 1, part 2, whatever. So this one's done, finished. The only thing I might do in future is utilise these, because that's where the travelling steady goes. I don't need a travelling steady on this. I might make something that'll screw on there where I can put this on. I mean, I suppose it works alright there. Just this thing's a little bit tight yet, but once it wears in, it'll be alright there, I suppose. No sense stuffing around when you don't need to. That gives me the opportunity then, if I'm facing, put it on there, and I can just dribble the coolant on the tool, so it'll follow it all the way across. Yeah, actually. Sorry, Mr. Heron Forbes, or I accuse you of being cheap ass for just supplying a magnet. That magnetic base actually works good. So there it is. Thanks for hanging out again and listening to me waffle. I mean, this shit here I've got to put away. I might even clean up before I go inside. Who knows? If not, I'll certainly do it when I come back out in the morning. So thanks for hanging around again. Look, this I've been out here. I cleaned this up this morning. Look at it. This poor old battery is rooted. It was showing green in there before, half green. Now it's just all red, and it's still taking charge. Where was I? Oh yes, thanking you for hanging around. So stay safe. Peace.